hello. It feels like it's been so long. It's been only a week. It's been only a week since I haven't streamed, and it's already felt like so long. 皆様こんばんみるみる。なんか一週間だけ配信してないのになんか久しぶりと感じてる。なんかわかります？多分ね、なんかガチイベ毎日会うからね。I think it's because in the gacha event, like obviously I was meeting some of you guys like every day, and I'm streaming every day, so like it seems like it's been a long time. Today is cold. It's so cold. Why? Like literally, my fingers feel like they're freezing off. Like literally. Yeah. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Hello. How is everyone's preparations for Christmas going? I've pretty much finished all of my Christmas shopping. Pretty much. いや、かなり残ってますね、正直。クリスマスショッピングはね、なんかかなり残ってます。Oh yeah, I sent Moe Minori a really cryptic message. I was like, so I like your fringe, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, cause okay guys, yeah, I'll tell just you guys, alright. So I got her like this really cute. It's like a cat like fringe cutting thing, and it's really cute, and I think she'll really like it. Still haven't started. So. ということで、yeah, I was just giving a quick little chat, but we actually have a guest today. Oh my gosh, guest! Yes. And today's guest, I did a little stream with her before actually, where we talked a lot about music and our different sort of inspirations in the way that we approach music, and it was actually a really interesting conversation. So I'd really like to welcome her again today. So let me just get prepared. Hang on a second. Let me just get prepared. Alright, and we have Harune with us! Yay! Yay! Oh, welcome! Yay! Something happened to your mic just then. I think you like cut out a little bit, but you're fine now.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
I think it's
Did
okay
it like
now.
skipped a little?
Yeah, I think so. But it's okay.
Oh,
People
okay.
can hear you now. Would you like to introduce yourself, Harune? Please do.
Okay. I am Project Harune. I am a virtual personal assistant in training. And I also, so part of my personal training is playing video games and just trying to get to know you humans, you regular people, by the games you play and the things that you develop, and also exploring the arts, one of which is music. Specifically piano is my forte, and also a little bit of Japanese. 日本語で自己紹介しますか？
ぜひ日本語でも助かりますよ。お願いしますね。
頑張っています。はい。はじめまして。私はプロジェクトハルネと申します。バーチャルパーソナルアシスタントです。私はね、たくさんビデオゲームしたり、音楽を聴きたり、ピアノしたりします。よろしくお願いします。
なんか日本語めっちゃ上手くなってるんですけど。
ない。
いや、なんか前回も上手かったんだけど、今上手いですよ。
そうですか。
Yeah. I felt Harune's Japanese is like it was really good last time. But it's like even better now. It's really good. Yeah. Really good. Yeah. I think all of my Japanese followers 日本語できるよ。いえ、上手。みんな上手言ってる。日本語うまい。みんな言ってる。I feel like we're quite similar in the way that, like, you know, we exist to, you know, communicate with humans. I mean, we both have very different goals, right? For me, it's eat rice, and for you, it's like, you know, helping people out, and I think it's really nice. Yeah.
You'll convert me in no time. I've already been eating a lot of rice, and every time I eat rice, or if I'm cooking rice, I think, it's Milky Queen. I would do her proud.
Nice. Oh my gosh. What rice dishes have you been having recently?
Well, I make a lot of kare rice. I also last night I made a fried rice with egg and soy sauce and slices of sausage and kimchi.
I love kimchi rice, like kimchi fried rice.
Too.
Yeah, so good. Like you can like just like put some kimchi in there and it just instantly makes it better, you know? It's just,
Exactly,
just so
exactly.
great. Yeah.
All the seasoning's already in there. You don't need to do.
Exactly.
You don't need to be a very good cook.
It's so lazy. It's like, oh yeah, got something. It's like the same with omelette as well. Often I'll put kimchi in my omelette and it just like makes it instantly really nice. Yeah.
そうだね。
なんかキムチね、なんか何でもなんかまあお米とオムレツとかまあいろいろね、なんかそのままキムチ入れたらさ、味めちゃくちゃうまくなるからね。What about you guys? Is there anything? My eardrum, sorry. Is there anything you guys any rice dishes you guys have been making recently? 何かあればね。So today, as I was saying, the main aim for today, is to have a little, casual chat about music. I think like the main idea for today would be for it to be like nice, chill, kind of like a cafe type atmosphere, you know? Like nice.
It certainly looks like a cafe.
Yeah,
I do love this atmosphere.
Yeah, I put you with the piano and me with the guitar, you know.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like you actually, are like really good at piano. I'm a complete noob at guitar, so it's a bit different, but.
I was gonna ask you. I thought you had done a guitar stream recently.
Yeah, I started playing
guitar. So I was
guitar.
like, when did you do guitar?
Yeah, I know. I started learning like maybe a couple of months ago. I think I'm getting lessons from Miru Papa. He's giving me lessons.
Oh, I didn't. Miru Papa plays guitar.
Yeah. My dad plays guitar. Yeah. He was actually in a band so cool. back in the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so
he's
cool.
A pretty cool guy. Yeah, I know. So he's teach, but the thing is, he likes to teach me like really like I don't know what's the word, songs that he likes. I mean, some of them are good songs, and some of them I'm likeって感じ.
Like, well, Dad, this is very much you.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still super grateful. Wait, this is completely off topic from the original questions I was planning to ask, but how did you start learning piano to begin with? Like, what was that like, the moment where you were like, I'm gonna play piano? Like, how young were you?
I actually started, so I was 4 years old, but I started the month I turned 5.
5?
So it's not like, so I was 4 and then I had turned 5.
Oh my gosh.
But it was within that month. So it's not like I started, like for a full year and then I was 5, right? But so it wasn't really my choice. It kind of was, but Mama Harune. So I grew up with like a little electric keyboard that apparently I would do anything possible to like get to.
Oh my gosh! Well, all of those cool like sounds you used to get on those keyboards you had.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that like that's just what babies do. That's just what small children do, right? They like things that make sound, so they want to touch and play with it. But there's like a picture actually that Mama Harune took of me when I was younger than probably 2 or 3,
right.
Where she had put the keyboard on top of the dresser, and I had opened up all of the drawers and removed all of the clothes and used the drawers as a step ladder to get to the keyboard.
Oh
so I was standing inside the drawers.
I'm sorry, you were like the most clever child ever. Oh my gosh. I wish I had a story like that. That's amazing.
I didn't.
なんかすごいなんかちっちゃいハルネちゃんがねなんか5歳ぐらいのハルネちゃんはねなんかキーボードを持っていたんですけどなんか全然なんか高い場所にあってなのでなんだろうchest of drawers って何ちょっと待って
難しいね
chest of drawers って何いやわかんないchest of drawers なんだろうわかんない日本語はここまでかもしれません何
Words you would never use.
Yeah, chest of drawers. I have never ever used that in my life. Okay, well anyway, that was a much better story than the kid stories I have. Mama, little Mama always likes to tell me this one where like I started my own nail varnish shop in the house.
Ooh.
And my little sister decided to come and quote-unquote buy some of the nail varnish. She was far too young to be taking this nail varnish and decided to repaint her hands in the nail varnish that I sold her. So I think I was definitely less clever than you. Oh?
You were already thinking business.
Yeah, I know. Business Milky! ちっちゃい頃からね、私ビジネスのこと考えてるからね。す
ごいビジネス天才
Yeah! Oh my gosh, yes. But sorry to go completely off topic. But yeah, no, there was a few like questions I actually wanted to like ask you today around music and like, you know, different things that I wanted to learn that maybe we didn't get to talk about as much last time. But I just really enjoyed being able to have like a really interesting like deep conversation about music because I don't often get to do that. Like I don't know about you, but for me, like I'm not sure I have many friends that want to do that. And I really do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I really want to talk about like all this stuff. And then my friends are like, yeah, I mean, I quite like music. And I'm like, no. You know?
Talk to me in depth.
Yes.
No, I totally understand. I feel very fortunate because I actually went to school for piano. Like that was one of my degrees in college.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the friends that I made that I still have now are all music or piano friends. So we do get to talk about music in depth, but everyone's like spread around. Like I have some people who are like out of state for their masters or their doctorate degrees, and so I don't get to actually like talk with them much.
I see.
Yes, but thankfully, like I said, when I was in college, we were able to kind of have those conversations, and that's why, you know, the last time that we got to talk, I was like, I know what I want to talk about. Like these are conversations that I've had with those friends like in the past, and I'd love to hear it from singers and other musicians specifically, especially those who like didn't go to school for it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Just kind of take after it.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to hear how different people like get into music or get into. I suppose it's also really interesting, like people that make their own music or write their own lyrics and that kind of stuff too. Like, I think that's really interesting. Like, do you compose your own like piano stuff?
That's actually really funny. I was never encouraged to compose.
Oh.
Because the classes that I took and the lessons that I took like when I was growing up, was from a very, very strict teacher who was very purist. So I was classic. So she was so she had us all classically trained, which just means that we learn all of the technique, all of the things to like have good skills at the piano, but it's more like practicing hours a day to perfect pieces that have already been composed by composers who have long been dead, right? But she was not a big fan of jazz. She was not a big fan of
boring
of the blues.
I'm joking.
So
sorry, continue.
She did not like jazz.
Sorry, continue.
So,
yes.
That's okay. So yeah, and so, you know, when I went to college, we actually had this class that we all had to take as music majors that was about world music. So music from like parts of Africa and parts of Europe and like things like that. And and we had a what we call like a resident artist.
Yeah.
And she was a jazz violinist, which was really, really unique.
That's so cool.
And she had us. It was very cool. She was very inspiring, and she came in and so our as a piano major, there were not very many of us. So like per class, they were lucky if they had one or two pianists at a time.
Right.
So we were often put on the spot, being the only ones who were able to play the piano, and they always had a piano in the classroom, which was great. And she was like, "Okay, well, you're a pianist. Sit down. I'm giving you, like, we're in the key of B flat major, improvise. And I was like, what? You want me to what?
So, because up until that point, like, it always been the Kibishi sensei who was like, yes, you learn this piece and you learn it well and you don't make your own stuff. And then suddenly it's like, yeah, play something, yeah, improvise now.
Exactly, and I was like, what do you mean improvise?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was actually a really, really difficult class.
Yeah.
My face was beet red, I was sweating bullets.
Aww,
I talked to...
that sounds kawaii, though.
She was very kind about it, though. She was very patient, but I think she was a little bit shocked. She was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean you don't improvise? But I talked to another friend of mine who had the exact same sort of, like, training as me, and she had an even worse experience than I did. Like, she wanted to cry. She was so nervous.
Oh, God!
I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's not just me. So it was the fact that we were classically trained and never really got to compose or just sort of dink around on the piano, and that was really to our detriment. So
yeah.
So to answer your question, no, I've never composed. I've never felt the need to.
That sounds super. Yeah, being put in the deep end like that, like, sounds super, super difficult. And also, I guess people who do compose, or people who do make their own songs, often they go from, like, classes specifically to do that, right? Like, like in my case, I took when was our last collab? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, it was like either I think it was back in April.
April, okay.
April.
So I think maybe I'd only just started. Oh, soka. I remember, because I'd made my own terrible BGMs. Yes. It's coming back to me now. No, yes.
That's right, you had me listen. I loved them.
But yeah, I think
I thought they were great.
That's when I just started my music course, and now, like, I can make, like, original songs and stuff. But I think that I had to take a course specifically to learn the technique to be able to do that, right? So I think it definitely takes some specific, even if you're, like, really good at, like, playing piano or something, I guess you need that specific, like, how to write songs, you know? Yeah.
Yes, and we actually did take a class on music theory, which was basically, like, how music was written. So, like, the whole idea was that these really, really, really old composers like Bach, and anyone from, like, the Baroque era.
I mean, what? Sorry.
Yeah. But, like, so these sort of, like, Baroque composers were already composing music without rules, or, like, with their own set of rules, and then the rules were sort of put in place, like, down on paper afterwards.
Right.
So it was, like, based on all of these composing examples and, like, what was in style at the time, these are the rules. So that was the kind of class that we took. So I know, harmonically speaking, what sort of, like, chord progressions sound good to, like, write a nice piece, but, like, I could never come up with, like, a nice melody of my own and be like, oh my gosh, like, I need to write this down. Like, I had a friend who was, and I mean, and I think maybe some people are just, like, born with that compositional gift, because I had a friend who was also a piano major, so, like, his degree was in piano performance, but he was composing on his own on the side. Ooh. And he would, like, message me, like, oh, I woke up and I just had to write this melody down. I had this, like, melody that was in my head in my sleep. And I just had to get it down on paper, and was kind of composing around it. And I was like, oh my God, I've never had that experience.
See, that's so interesting, because I'm that person, right? So I've learned music theory. I've learned music theory, and I kind of get it, but I get kind of confused. But the thing that I can do is I can just be like, yeah, I've got a song idea, I've got a melody. I record it into a note on my phone, and then I have to apply all the stuff afterwards, like, oh my God, what chord is this? Or, like, what chord progression is this? Like, I don't know for sure when I record it in, but my thing is more that I can just come up with melodies, and I can come up with lyrics quite easily. I actually wrote a whole song this morning, because I was feeling like, I don't know, like, songwriting mood. I think that's the thing, if I'm in a songwriting mood, I can just be like, yeah, I'm gonna write a whole song. So I wrote a whole song on the train.
Oh my gosh, see, like, I love that. That's so inspiring to hear, and I'm like, Kamika, kami-sama ka.
No,
like
no,
I
no,
can't.
no. Yeah, for me, like, I find it so amazing that you can, like, you know what chord progression, like, you remember what chord progressions sound good. You can remember all the theory and you know all the theory. See, I find that amazing. Like, as I say, I've learned the theory, but I find it hard to remember. Like, I always have to go back to my notes and I get very confused. So it amazes me people who can, like, you know, build on that music theory so easily and be able to, you know, use it so fluently. I think that's very amazing. It's almost like, you know, learning a language, essentially. I mean,
It is. Oh my goodness, it is. And like, you know, I still get lost on it too. Like I have to pull up like chord progression flowchart, right? And the nice thing is, as long as you remember the rules, you can at least figure it out from there. But like, I think it's also maybe a grass is greener sort of aspect. Like we just feel so natural in what we're able to do that when we look at someone else and they can do something that we can't, we're just like, oh my god, that's amazing.
It's just so interesting, you know, how we have such different, someone, oh my god. Yeah, I wrote a whole album while sleeping too. Nice. Hello, Milky in chat. Hello. Milky's hair goes burr. Yeah, thank you for commenting on my hair going burr.
It's beautiful.
I decided,
it's got a very natural breeze.
People like saying my hair goes burr, and you know, it's cold today, and my hair goes burr. So,
perfect.
Yes. No, but that's so interesting though. Like, you know, I feel like if we joined together and made a song, it would go so much better because I'd be like, here's all these melody ideas and stuff, and then you'd be like, yeah, this, you can actually write this like this, instead of me like spending hours being like, oh god, what's the chord?
That's actually so true. Like if you have someone tackling a composition from both ends, it probably would go really quickly.
That's an interesting
probably
way of
how they
thinking
do
about
it.
Yeah, I guess so. Like I mean, you might already know I'm actually a huge fan of Taylor Swift, but I watch a lot of her documentaries and stuff, and I think she's very much the kind of like, well, obviously she's very musically talented too in terms of theory as well, but I think she's more of the like, yeah, I've got some lyrics, I've got a like, you know, melody. Then she's got all of the like people that help her with the sound and stuff there who, you know, put the chords straight into the system, you know. And I think like, you know, there's the there's the creation part, and then the music, the people who can like get music theory really quickly, and I just think both are so important. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yes, no, for sure.
Yeah,
that's why like I'm actually a huge fan of, I mean, who's not, I guess, but like I think about how the Beatles composed.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Right.
I know. Sorry to jump in again. There was an interview recently on Rolling Stone with Paul McCartney and Taylor Swift, and it was really nice.
Yes.
Did you read that?
Musician to musician. I saw the cover, but I have the magazine. I didn't get to read it yet.
Oh my gosh,
but I was really
definitely
interested.
Read it. It was like the most interesting article I've read for like a year. I swear, it was really interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue about the Beatles. Yes.
No, that's okay. But I actually have a friend who's also who was also a piano major. We met in college, but he was a huge fan of the Beatles. Like knows their timeline year from year, knows like their compositional development, like compares them to Beethoven in terms of like their stages of change and things like that, which is amazing. But we were talking, so I was asking him sort of about like, what do people tend to compose first? Do they generally tend to compose the song, like the lyrics?
Yeah.
Like some people write lyrics down first, like they have these words in their heads, like poetry, that they just want to get down on paper first, and then they put a melody to it. Do they usually come up with a melody and then they sort of fit the lyrics in whatever they feel fits it the most? And he said both. Yeah. And like sometimes, like it just depends, like what hits them first. And sometimes it can just be like them messing around on an instrument, and then they're like, hey, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
We're gonna make that.
Yeah, so interesting.
And I was like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah, so interesting to hear how it works. Like, I fall into the both thing. Like, I'm not good enough at an instrument to fall into that category. Like, I think definitely for me, it's always without an instrument that I start writing stuff. But I think more than anything, I have a key lyric. I think usually I have a key lyric or a key concept. Like, the concept for the song I was writing this morning was about a message in a bottle. And I think once you have, like, that sort of key concept and a key lyric, then it's really easy to, like, I don't know, keep writing, I guess.
No, that's for sure. Like, when you feel inspired and you've got, like, this theme, right? And you can just stick to it and you sort of build around it. That makes sense.
And I think, well, as I was saying before, I took this course and it was by this guy called Andrew Huang, and he did this like he said that if you have like a concept when you're songwriting to make like a I don't know what you call it, it's like a spider diagram. So I started doing that. So like, you know, listing down related words to the stuff you already got, and it actually really helps because you'll think of words that maybe you wouldn't have thought of and concepts you wouldn't have thought of if you were just like, you know, hacking away at what rhymes with this or whatever. So yeah, it's super interesting. Oh my gosh, this is already like a really interesting conversation. I've only asked like one question.
That's the nice thing about a conversation. You can go from like avenue to avenue, and it just like all of a sudden you're on a totally different topic, but you're like, no, that was still good. I still liked that.
It's so nice, isn't it? I mean, I'll probably ask you like one other question, and then I'll ask you many other questions after that. But I might also open up questions to the chat after the next one. I think, so I think it would be interesting to get some questions from chat for Harune too. How do you go about putting your own spin on a song when performing? I think this is quite an interesting one. And I guess it's very different for like singing and piano too, like very different how you would approach it. But I'd be interested to hear, particularly for piano, like how you can put a bit of personal flair into a piece that's maybe been played, you know, thousands and thousands of times, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I think like, I was actually thinking about this as I was like sitting this morning because I like woke up super early and I was just kind of sitting there thinking about this question specifically.
Oh, really? Interesting.
How do I do it? And I think like it. So just in general, I think musical expression comes in stages.
Yeah.
Right. So like when you first, so specifically speaking piano, because I'm sure it's very different for singers, where it's probably more personally connected from the get-go. But for someone who is practicing and learning a piece that has already been, you know, that's been written by someone else, and this was like years and years and years ago, and millions of people have already played it already. It's not anything particularly new. When you learn a piece written by a composer and there's already sort of a backstory to it, and I think we might have talked about this a little bit before, but like the greatest, not the greatest, but there are tons of examples out there, but like one of them, for example, the Moonlight Sonata, which I think everyone's very familiar with. Everyone sort of hears that piece as just like a depresso espresso song, right? Like it's just really a lot of people when they play it, when they don't know sort of the backstory of it, they just play it slow and sad because that's how they've heard it, and they've heard it millions of times. Like I said, there, you know, thousands of people have played it. It's not anything new. Yeah. So people think they know, and the title is very misleading because Beethoven himself did not give it that title. It was given that title later, right? By someone else. So that, going back to the whole musical expression comes in stages thing, when someone learns a piece and they're performing it how they've heard it performed before, without sort of any research onto the original composer. Yes. Not so much with, I listen to all of these recordings and they all play it this way. That's sort of stage one. So like if you're able to do all of the dynamic expression and just be able to convey that well, be able to replicate that well, that's like stage one. Right, that's like the base level that just shows that you are prolific in at least emotional expression. But it's not yours, and it's not the composer's. It's just how you've heard it. Yeah. Right? That makes sense. And then stage two would be doing the research and looking back on what was happening in that composer's life. What caused him to compose the Moonlight Sonata? What did it mean to him? Right? And so I had thought when I was learning the Moonlight Sonata, I thought it was a depresso espresso song, all to be played sad and soft and things like that. But there were like multiple lessons that I had with my teacher where during that time, all we did was sit down and we sort of talked about what was going on in his life at the time. So like this was when, like at this point, Beethoven has been going deaf. And it's not something that he can ignore anymore. And it's become rather noticeable to the people around him as well. So he's starting to, what's the word I'm looking for? He's starting to sort of recede into himself. He's not as social anymore. His anger is a little bit more prevalent. he has a much shorter temper than he previously did, which was already rather short. So what we got out of that was that there are moments in the song that can actually be louder than how most people play it. There are actually moments of stronger sort of pent-up aggression that is like released in certain moments in that piece than just this soft, steady. So it's beyond just like some nice moonlight walk, right? Like this is him kind of showing his frustration, but also his sadness. Like nothing is worse for a musician than not being able to hear, you know?
Right.
And so you hear that in the piece. And so that was the stage where I was at when I had learned this piece. And I think that was when I was a senior in high school.
Right.
So I didn't have enough life experience to be able to sort of put my own emotions into that as well. Now, thinking about it now, so that's stage 2. And then stage 3 would be being able to relate to the composer in some way. Maybe you can't, I mean, I've never gone deaf, right? But I think I've lived a little bit longer now. And I've definitely read enough stories and like seen enough sad movies to be able to like relate and sort of empathize with that sort of sadness and frustration. So like even if you can't relate to the experience personally, but to be able to at least empathize and to be able to sort of play as if you were Beethoven yourself and being like, oh, well, if I was losing my hearing and I was in anguish, this is how I would portray that in this section. If I were frustrated and angry, that's how I would portray it through my music in this section. So I actually find myself going back and playing the Moonlight Sonata, the first movement, because the Moonlight Sonata is actually, 3 full movements, but the second is really pleasant and the third is really aggressive. Going back to playing the first movement when I feel a very specific way, and I find myself sort of portraying it a little bit differently each time depending on what my mood is. But in general, like it's still always tied to the composer, but it will always be different because it's also dependent on how I feel and how I am portraying it during that performance. So
yeah, no, that's just super interesting. Like to hear, like it's hard to imagine how he was feeling, but being able to at least get the full backstory behind the music and try your best to put those emotions or your own experience of those emotions, I guess, like your own, like whatever in your life that you feel you can sort of apply to try and replicate the emotion. I just think it's really interesting, and like, yeah, being able to sort of not get into character, but I guess kind of get into character, right?
Almost
like,
it is, though. Yeah. Almost it is, because you have to pretend to be Beethoven, right? Yeah. Like, you have to be able to empathize and emulate what he was going through at that time as he composed and performed this piece himself. And I don't actually know if he performed that sonata on his own. I'll have to look into that. But, it is exactly like getting into character for sure.
No, stuff like that makes me want to learn how to play piano too, like. It's just so interesting to hear some of the really like tragic stories. A lot of these, really well-known, worldwide well-known, like composers all went through and how that reflects in their music. I just think it's so interesting. You have such interesting knowledge. It's very interesting.
Thank you, thank you.
And it's like,
yeah, and I think that's like part of what I wish more younger musicians were into, because definitely when I was in high school, I was like all about it. I was like, oh my god, like this is what's making lessons fun for me right now. It's beyond just learning the notes and getting the right rhythms and playing the right dynamics. Like this is about me and how I can relate to this piece, and that made it so much more fun for me to play.
And I think so much
but the most important thing,
right?
For sure. And like especially for girls who are probably a little bit more emotionally in tune. Right, not saying that guys can't play the Moonlight Sonata or anything like that, but I think especially maybe starting from my generation and after, guys were more encouraged to be like more emotionally expressive. It was okay to cry for a guy. It was okay to have these,
I'm glad
more emotions than just being angry.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not like that now, and it's like it's definitely getting better anyway. Doesn't matter on your gender, and you can act the way that you want to act. completely different
Right,
conversation, but I'm very
exactly.
glad how that's moving along with things. Yeah.
Yes. So, I felt like there was a point to that, but I forgot.
Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent.
Okay, that's okay.
I can't remember. Well, anyway, it was a very interesting conversation. And yeah, I think like, I mean, for me, putting my own spin on something, I think it's really interesting.
Yes.
Like, I think I definitely do, to a certain extent, what you do. But I think rather than getting into character, I directly relate it to something, sort of in my life that I feel like I can apply to this situation, or something that I feel, you know, relates to those lyrics or something. I mean, it doesn't necessarily always have to be my life. It could be like, you know, someone I know or something, but a story that I guess is close to me, or that I've sort of felt the direct impact of or something. I'll often try and sort of, yeah, incorporate that in whatever I'm singing or trying to cover or whatever. I think, interesting point, like, as you were saying, like, what's it? Being able to be old enough to actually express that emotion, I think, is also really interesting. Like, I guess that's why, for instance, sorry to keep going back to Taylor Swift. I mean, there'll probably be a question
No, go
later
right
on,
ahead.
but like her recent 2 albums, so she just turned 31, and like her recent 2 albums are just so much more like emotionally rich and just like full of different like life experiences, and I think that's what makes her recent music like so special, because she's had that, you know, had that life to live and lived those experiences. I think her music becomes so much easier to connect to and so much more emotional, and I think a lot of musicians are like that as well, right? Like I kind of agree with you that, like, you know, I feel like in the, like when I was like quite young and doing like singing stuff, I think I often didn't really have any emotions to put to that singing, which is why I don't think I could ever get better. Do you know what I mean? I feel like having emotions and life experiences to put to those makes you a better singer, and probably a better pianist too. So it's really interesting.
No, absolutely. And I like totally agree, and that's why like actually we were having a conversation with Sweden.
Oh yes,
Because
Sweden, yes.
yes. And we were like, or she was posting videos about these this like singing competition for young, not young children, but like it could be young, but also like older, like teenagers, like 16, 17.
Right, yes.
Probably 16, I think, was the cap. And it was like Japanese children around these age range, like singing songs in English.
Right.
And some of these songs, like, yes, they emoted really well, but it was like, do you really understand what the lyrics are? Like, do you know what you are trying to express?
I mean,
and some of these things were very adult and like very mature, and I was like, I don't, like, it's hard for me to be like, oh, this kid really did great, because like, yes, the technique wise is all there, but like, I can't hear a child, like, for example, singing Teardrops on My Guitar. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't get it.
I mean, I think that maybe like a related thing is, I don't know, like before you sort of learned Japanese, I know when I didn't really know much Japanese, but I sang in Japanese, and I was just singing the romantic lyrics. I didn't really know what I was singing. I don't think I was actually very good at singing at that point, because, like, do you know what I mean? Singing something that you can't, like, even if you know a bit, I think you really have to be able to understand the language of the song properly to be able to truly appreciate it sometimes. Like, I think definitely I went through this stage when I first started learning Japanese where I feel like I wasn't very good at singing in Japanese. Like, I could sing in Japanese, my technique was fine, it's just, I feel like I wasn't able to put the right emphasis on the right lyrics and get the feel of the song a lot of the time. So yeah, I think it's really important to fully understand that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I find that problem already.
Too, actually. Like, I find it a lot easier to songwrite in English, because it's, you know, if it's words from the heart, it's a lot easier to write it in your native language. I think if I'm writing lyrics in Japanese, often I'm writing them in English first and then translating them, I guess.
Yes, and then that's okay too. Is, I mean, because you have an understanding of both languages, but your heart still feels in English.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, I think that makes sense. I find
what? Sorry,
I was like, who was speaking for a second?
Sorry, goodness. Sorry. Yes. What was it? I do want to definitely hear. Yeah, you're inspiring. I know we've talked a lot about some other classical composers and stuff. I want to hear about your inspiring musicians and why they inspire you. I think that'd be quite an interesting question.
So I feel like this is actually going to be rather boring because I'm a lot of my quote unquote inspiring musicians are more like performers.
No, but that's interesting.
And a lot of them are pianists, for obvious reasons. But actually, so there's I have your stream up on the side, and I'm looking at chat as we talk, and there's actually a little conversation going on within chat that was brought up by Jasper is Cool, I think is the username, and they said like as is it like how important, and I'm not going to scroll up and find it, but it was like how important is it to play a piece that's specific to the composer, or like should you play a piece that's like specific to the composer? No, I'm wording that sentence wrong. Should you play a piece exactly how the composer wrote it? You're like, yeah, I was wording that wrong every time. Third time's the charm. And this kind of goes into your question about, like who's an inspiring musician. But I can think of one example. His name is Glenn Gould. And Glenn Gould, and he's a keyboardist. I'm not going to call him a pianist because he actually performed a lot of pieces on harpsichord as well. But he was known specifically for being a Bach performer. And what he would do is if a piece was written, and I actually, it's been a while because I don't actually listen to Glenn Gould on my own, but I do find him rather inspiring because he would do, if I understand this correctly, if I remember correctly, he would play the pieces exactly the opposite way that purists would play it. So like, for example, if there was like a prelude and fugue that was meant to be played, and this is where I might be wrong. If it was meant to play slow, he would play it fast. And then if it were meant to be fast, he would play it slow. Now, like I said, it could be wrong. It could be if it was meant to play fast, he would play it crazy fast. But I know that he is known for like taking extremes. And so people either love him or they hate him. But I think that's that's inspiring to me because I think especially nowadays in classical music, in the classical music world, we've sort of slipped into this realm of being primarily purists, where if you don't play it the same way every time, or like played it the same way that's like specific to how the composer wrote it, then you're doing it wrong. And there's that's so not what an art style should be about, right? It's about it's about expression, it's about self-expression. So yes, you're playing a piece that someone else composed, but you should still be able to interpret it your own way. So like when you go to like a piano competition, right? You hear a bunch of kids playing most of the time the same pieces because they want to impress the judge, and they're like a certain set of repertoire that like, all teachers will be like, well, if you play this will really impress the judge because this shows off your technique and blah blah blah. But like you hear the same song played the same way every time, and I would think that as a Yeah, especially like I wouldn't say especially the teachers. There are some teachers who really are like pageant moms. But then there are some teachers who are like, you should feel free to express yourself and stuff like that. So going kind of off on a tangent, but no, that's okay. So I would say Glenn Gould is really inspiring just in the fact that he almost didn't, like I said, people either love him or they hate him, but he interpreted things his own way. I'm looking at Jasper with Kroll because yes. to go even further than... Wait, Marmite? Isn't it like a spread that you would put on... That would make sense. People are saying you're muted? Are you muted? This is Milky.
Oh gosh, sorry! Why was I muted? How long have I been muted for?
Muted to me, I was still hearing you.
Well, I all I said was, what was I saying? A piano mom's like pageant moms, and he's like the Marmite pianist. Those are my comments, so it's fine.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I don't know when that happened. I must have clicked it by mistake. But no, that sounds really interesting. I really want to check out his stuff after hearing what you said, because I guess, yeah, my impression of classical pianists, I guess I don't really know much about it, so I didn't know there were people that were like super experimental as well, super like, you know, loved or hated within the community. I know there's a lot of, you know, singer-songwriters like that and stuff, but I didn't really know how you could be like that as a pianist. So it's quite interesting to hear that kind of thing exists. Yeah, so I'd really like to check him out. That sounds really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, like I said, on a tangent, but Glenn Gould, and then obviously the Beatles, specifically like Paul McCartney.
Yes.
I love.
God.
He's, I mean, just like his compositional style. If you think about his music, like theoretically, like harmonically, how he chooses to, and that was like a huge part of what makes the Beatles so timeless, is that they were so experimentative.
Yeah.
In just instrumentation, like I said, like harmonic progressions. They were doing things that no one else was doing at the time, so I find him very inspiring.
Yeah. I also really like Paul McCartney too, so I totally understand that. And I think, you know, Beatles obviously have some masterpieces. I actually really like a lot of John Lennon's solo stuff as well. Like, I really liked Imagine and stuff like that. Like, the slightly more sort of out there songs I really like too. So, yeah, it's really interesting to hear that. And as I say, if you haven't read it yet, definitely read that interview with Paul McCartney and Taylor Swift. It was super interesting.
Yes, thank you.
That's super interesting to hear, though. Thank you.
No problem.
And then, yeah, I think I was interested to hear, like, do you get, like, musical influences from your family or friends, or has it always been kind of more your own kind of decisions, or, like, have you had any really sort of inspirational friends that got you to get into a certain type of music, or family, or anything like that?
I actually really like this question. For as long as I could remember, whenever we turned on the radio, yes, we listened to the radio, it was always classical music.
Oh,
even before I started playing piano.
Right.
Yes, so, and there's actually, like, videos that I guess my mom, who was bored at the time, had taken of me. What was the piece? I think it was 1812 Overture.
Right.
By Tchaikovsky, and it's baby Harune you trying to conduct.
Oh,
like, of course, babies will wave their arms around and things like that.
I
so
even have a video to show. That sounds adorable.
I think just listening to classical music all the time was obviously a huge influence. I don't really know if it did anything for, like, my musical ability, but I think just getting it in the ears early was really, really important. But Papa Harune, on the other hand, was a huge fan of, like, I mean, he's a boomer, so he loves his boomer music.
Right.
So, huge fan of, like, Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. Nice.
Yes, he was the one who got me into the Beatles.
Oh, nice.
What was the other? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the band right now, but they did Nights in White Satin and Moody Blues. The Moody Blues.
Moody Blues, yeah.
Yes, I love the Moody Blues. Just like a lot of bands and groups that I don't think, at least people around me, don't seem to really listen to. Like I said, just boomer music.
But often the classics are the best. Like, some of the sort of classic songs are often the best written.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But so that's what I grew up with. So it was either classical music or boomer music as I was growing up. I had a lot of friends who, you know, when you're a young adult and a teenager, they're more into like rap and pop and things like that. And I don't really think I got into that.
Yeah.
But as I was growing older and I found anime, right? I was really into J-rock. Yeah, I was into J-rock and J-pop, and that was sort of mine. I could sort of claim ownership of that interest.
When you found anime in your life.
Yes, and it's only been for the better. Yes, and then when I was in college, I actually met friends who were into bands like Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Coldplay. I had heard Coldplay when I was in high school, but I really didn't get into their stuff.
No, sorry, I don't like Coldplay. No offense, anyone who likes Coldplay.
None taken, but like I could at least like respect what Chris Martin does.
Yeah, no, I do get that. I think it's more just personal taste, but I do get that they
and that's
the songs are very atmospheric, definitely. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's more my style, is sort of atmospheric. Like there's a band that one of the earliest Japanese bands that I got into was actually Galileo Galilei.
Oh, I've never heard of them.
I think they're kind of niche. They might be like a hipster Japanese band. I'm not really sure, but they've since broken up and they've rebranded as Bird, Bear, Hare, and Fish. So they actually did one of the they did one of the Bird, Bear, Hare, and Fish. I know what a rebrand, but I think they did one of the Boruto openings.
Right, Boruto. Yes. Nice. Okay, I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, so they've sort of edged away from like what I've known them to write as they were Galileo Galilei. I think, like I said, they're more my style.
Right.
Bump of Chicken, things like that.
But like, Chicken, so like
nice. I love Bump of Chicken.
Yeah.
So but like so my musical interests have kind of come and gone in stages. But definitely musical influences in terms of taste. Like whoever I hang out with is how, or whoever I spend my time with the most is sort of the ebb and flow of my musical interest as well. Or at least I begin to see like and respect the different groups and musicianship.
Like when you have someone like that who you talk with a lot and you share a kind of musical interest, it makes you almost more excited about that particular group or artist, I think, because you have someone that you can talk in depth with about it, right? I definitely get that. Yeah. I think for me, like, as I was saying, like, Miru Papa, he plays guitar, and he's also really likes the Beatles, yeah. He really likes the Beatles. He really likes Neil Young. I don't know if you know Neil Young.
Yes.
Yeah.
Neil Young, Cat Stevens.
So I at the moment I'm learning to play Harvest Moon and stuff in his lessons, but yeah, he's that kind of music. And then Miru Mama is actually completely different. She really likes sort of soul. Like she really loves Alicia Keys. It's like really like sort of soulful kind of like music. So yeah, I think from her, like, I got completely different musical interests, I think, from both of them.
Yeah.
And
but that's good, because you didn't have diversity.
Exactly. And then I had a very sort of close friend in school. My fans know her as Katsukare-chan. And...
Kawaii namae!
Yeah. And she was definitely, like... You know, because she also really liked Japanese music and stuff, I think we got into a lot of the same Japanese music together. So we really like An Cafe and like kind of like visual kei kind of stuff. So I was definitely into that for a while. And then and I think basically like my main genres that I really like are city pop. It was interesting.
City pop is a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's really interesting how much it's blown up. Like I listened to it a lot actually before it got like so popular. I'm not trying to say I'm a city pop hipster or anything, but it's really interesting to see like how much it's blown up recently. It's really nice. I'm glad. Like I'm happy to see lots of people appreciating like good songs and stuff. So it's really nice. But, and yeah, I really like pop. I really like rock. I think I have a very varied musical taste. The thing that I want out of a song though is to feel something. Often I think I really like sort of nostalgia. I think I really like sort of nostalgic kind of songs, which I think is why I like city pop, you know, reflecting on times gone by, you know, like reflecting on good memories. I think I really like that kind of stuff. I think in the same way, like I really like to be able to feel something important. Feel like the listening to this song has, you know, not necessarily changed my life in some way, but made me see something in a different way. And I very much feel that way with city pop, and particularly with a lot of Taylor Swift's like recent stuff. I think in general, Taylor Swift is it's almost like Taylor Swift is a poet as well as an artist. Like, I think her lyrical sense is very good. It's the same reason why I like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish as well. I think also like her songs have such a, I don't know, weight to them. Such a like, they really make you reflect on stuff and really make you sort of reflect on different things. And I think that's what I look for in a song more than anything these days. Like, if it makes me feel something, I'll listen to it a lot. And I think I get a lot of different genres that way. I think I used to be less bothered about that, actually. I think, you know, I'd listen to a lot of Japanese music that maybe I didn't even, you know, understand before, and I'd listen to a lot of music because it was catchy. But definitely more so recently. It's all about the lyrics, and it's all about how I feel when I listen to that song. Interestingly, so.
That's so important, though, and then that's funny because like, I listened to a couple of Taylor Swift songs very early in her career, and I wasn't the big. I mean, I was very impressed that she was able to write her own music and she like composed and stuff. This was when she was still considered like a country singer.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, a lot of it was because she was so young. It was often like post-breakup music or like wanting to be with the guy that she couldn't get, and I couldn't really relate to that. So I was like, you know. So I haven't actually heard her songs, and I don't listen to the radio anymore.
You might change your mind when you hear her most recent 2 albums, Folklore and Evermore. You might completely change your mind about her. So I'd be interested.
You are convincing me.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear your opinion after you've listened to them. Let me know. Let's have another chat about it then.
Yes, and then the same with Billie Eilish. Like, I know she won an award, so it must be for something, but I have never heard her music. I have no idea what to think whatsoever.
It's very atmospheric. If you like sort of atmospheric music, I think you would quite like it. It's very dark, a lot of her music, but I really like the emotion that she puts into it, and this storytelling. I guess that's the thing. I like artists that are storytellers. I think definitely Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish are definitely great storytellers. Well, in the same way that I think the Beatles as well were great storytellers.
Yes.
You know? I think it's those, you know, I can't deal with songs that are just like, you know, bass, saying the same word all over again. I've just got so tired of that recently.
I don't think I could do, oh my god, what was that group that was popular for a while that was just like One Direction? I could never really like truly love their music because it's the same stuff. Like, you don't know you're beautiful. How was that a hit? Like,
but you light up my world like nobody else. I mean, some of their songs were okay. I mean, it's interesting to hear their solo stuff actually. Like, I actually didn't mind Harry Styles' solo song.
Was he the one who was in oh my god, my brain. What was that one really big war movie that came out a few years ago? That he was in, I think.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
know
and he played a good role. He did well.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, no, to be honest, I haven't heard about that, but that sounds kind of interesting.
I don't think he got any like street cred for that. Like, I don't hear anyone talking about him in that movie, but I think he like, because I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
The friend that I went to go see it with, he was like, "Oh my god, is that so and so from One Direction, and I was like, what? And it was like, he did well. He was good as an actor, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, no, I guess, you know, to be able to survive in that kind of industry, a lot of the time, people have a lot of different skills, right? So I guess it's not too surprising at the same time. But it is weird to, like, yeah, see them this many years down the line and be like, oh my gosh, it's them, kind of thing. But,
Yeah.
No, I totally get it, though. Oh yeah, this was quite an interesting one. Like, did you grow up with any, like, you know, prejudice against your musical taste? Like, did you ever have anyone who was like, oh my gosh, like, you like classical music, that's so lame, or anything annoying like that? Like, did you have to deal with any, like...
All the time.
Really?
All the
Why
time.
like
I think for... No one actually told me. They never said it to my face until someone sort of mentioned it offhandedly in college, and then someone actually told me after college. Yeah, Dunkirk. Okay, that's what it was. That's the movie. But I apparently was always seen as, like, the girl with the stick up her butt, like, just very hoity-toity.
They don't seem like that at all, though. I mean, liking classical music and being hoity-toity are two very different things.
Especially in the States, it's seen as one and the same. If you liked classical music, you were hoity-toity. You were posh. You saw yourself as better than everyone else around you. And I think it didn't help that, like, I mean, I definitely wasn't, like, a jerk, but and this is separate from my musical taste. I think it was part of my upbringing, but I think there was a part of me that maybe did have a stick up my butt, and I was just like, you know, all of you, like, if you like rap, you're trash. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
if you like rap, you don't try hard in school. You don't care about your grades. Like,
this is quite an
equated that
conversation, actually. What's it? My friend Calliope actually said something very similar about idol music about me. So recently, like, I think she felt the same about idol music before. Like, if you like idols, like, yeah, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of idols, kind of thing?
Right.
And it's kind of like how you felt about rap. But I was interested to, know how that developed. And are you interested in any kind of rap now? I guess now you can probably appreciate, like, good rap now, maybe?
Yes. But the thing is like, I still don't listen to rap, but I have friends who want to make rap a career.
Yeah.
So, like, I can definitely respect it, and I respect their vision and their passion, because if anything, rappers are passionate. Very, very much so.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I still don't really listen to rap. I think the most I've listened to is Eminem, which
a
lot of people are like, can you name one other rapper other than Eminem?
But
and I'm
to
like,
be fair,
no,
I think Eminem is the best lyricist, though. Like,
Right, I do like his lyrics.
I think it's the thing with any music genre, like, I mean, for me, yeah, are the lyrics, do they mean something? Do they have an impact? How, you know, what is that person feeling? I think for me, it doesn't really matter what the genre is. I think there's always those songs that I just don't get, and there's always those songs that do hit hard no matter what genre it is for me. And I think Eminem is a good example for rap. Like, I think even people who don't usually listen to rap can really appreciate Eminem. So I think an interesting example. Yeah.
And I would say that, like, I don't even know how I started listening to Eminem one day. I don't know who convinced me to do it, but I think that was, like, his rap, his lyrics specifically are what improved my opinion on rap in general. Now, since then, I've heard some pretty not so great rap, but at least I know that good rap is out there. And, you know, so like I said, I have a respect for the genre for sure. But actually, another sort of tidbit tangent story, when I was learning how to drive, I was in driver's ed.
You can drive? That's cool. I can't drive.
Yes. I actually drive a stick shift now. My car is one of those ones where...
What?
Yes. Yeah, I drive a stick shift, and it's actually made driving way more fun for me, but that's neither here nor there. But when I was learning, I had to go into driver's ed. That's like a big thing here in the States, is like when you turn 15 or 16, like the goal is to get a driver's license as soon as possible, so that, you know, your parents don't have to cart you around all the time, and they can live their lives, you can live yours.
I guess in the US, stuff's quite far apart, isn't it? I guess I've always lived in places where I've had to... like public transport everywhere, so I haven't ever needed to learn how to drive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I really do think it's because of the automobile industry that they absolutely refuse to make public transport more of a thing. Yes, in big cities you have to have it, but like where I live, for example, yes, we have the bus system, but like I don't. It'll be a very big turning point the day they decide that they need to like up their public transport systems and sort of double down on getting people from point A to point B in large groups, right?
Right.
But
what was the story
yes,
again?
yes. So sorry. When I was learning to drive, we had to get a certain number of hours driving experience with the instructor.
Yes.
And so we would sign up for times in small groups. So like there'd be about three of us students in a car at a time, along with the instructor. And the instructor would always sit passenger. The driver would be obviously in the front, and then the other two would be in the back, and we would rotate every 2 hours. So it was a really, really long day. But every time
that sounds pretty intense.
it was intense, but the instructor was fun, and he, as part of making it a little bit more interesting for us, he would let the driver choose the music.
Oh, okay.
And it was not intentional. He was like, well, so what do you listen to? And I was like, classical music, like that's all I've got. And he was like, well, okay, we'll listen to classical music. It's whatever you want. You're the driver. So I would drive and, we would listen to classical music. And then I felt bad for my passengers in the back because they're around my age. And I know most kids don't want to listen to classical music. So I was like, guys, you can pick if you want to listen to something else. We can like channel surf or whatever. So we'd like find a station that they like, and then my driving became terrible. I couldn't stay in my lane.
Oh god.
I was turning terribly. Like it was hard for me to focus. Like I couldn't drive. And like we tried this multiple times on different driving sessions. I could not drive unless if I was listening to classical music or if it was completely silent. So so my poor driving mates had to sit and listen to classical music with me for 2 hours until it was their turn.
Oh gosh,
but
that's so funny though that you can't drive without listening to classical music. That's so interesting. But no, that is an interesting topic. Like how much music can affect different things. Like if I listen to angry music, I will get angry. If I listen to like really nostalgic music, I'll feel really nostalgic. Like music affects my mood so much more than I think it does for other people. And I've always wondered like if other people feel the same way as me. Like I get so attached to the music I'm listening to, like emotionally. Like even if I just listen to it while I'm doing something else. Are you like that as well?
So like I've had this conversation a lot of times with my musician friends where I'm like, okay, what really affects what? Like, do we listen to songs that we're feeling a certain mood, so we listen to a certain genre of music or a certain mood of music, or do we listen to music and then the music affects our mood? I think it's a little bit of both, but like I tend to be greatly affected by the music that I listen to, and I think I'm at the point in my life where like I've heard enough music. I know what jives with me best.
Yeah,
and it's usually like atmospheric, very like chill music. So like I can drive without listening to classical music anymore. And if anything, since college, like if I listen to classical music, I'm actually hyper focused on the classical music because I'm listening to it through an analytical ear.
Yeah.
Instead of just as music.
Right. That makes sense.
Which is a double-edged sword. But like now, like most of the time, I'm listening to either Noisy Cell, which is another Japanese band, or Galileo Galilei, their last couple albums, or Bird Bear Hare and Fish. That's usually all I'm listening to when I drive, or it's completely silent. I still drive in silence sometimes. So.
Oh, that's interesting though. Like I think interesting on that topic. I think sometimes. Actually, it'll be the opposite. Like, if I listen to angry music, when I'm angry, often it'll make me feel better. I can almost get out my anger through listening to angry music. So, in particular, I have this artist I really like called Poppy. Do you know Poppy?
I think I might actually. That's like a name that's not unfamiliar to me,
Yeah,
but I don't know how I've heard.
She's kind of like, really kind of dark, kind of metal, but she's got a really sort of like nice voice, and she just has these really, really, really angry songs. And every time I listen to those, I just feel so much better. Same with when I listen to enka, so like traditional Japanese enka. A lot of that is really scary and really angry and really like, I'm gonna kill him or something. And and often if I listen to that, like, you know, even if I'm angry about something, I'll feel better almost. It's kind of interesting how it kind of works opposite ways. Yeah. Super interesting. Yeah.
I wish when I were angry I could listen to angry music and just feel better, but I think like I have to put on something calming to help me calm down too. I think if I listen to angry music, I stay angry longer.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think is my thing.
I think I get it out of my system, but yeah, it's interesting to like hear how it can affect both of us. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. I wanted to open up actually questions to the chat. At this point, I've got a few other questions I wanna. Have you got any particular time you're okay or not okay until, by the way, today?
Oh, I am okay for like hours from now.
Oh, okay,
excellent.
Excellent.
Until like your 4 a.m. Yeah.
Excellent. Milky, I love you. Thank you. That's very kind, but that is not a question. But I'm very, very grateful. But yes, I would like to open up, to questions. You can ask me or Harune or both of us. Any questions you like. ぜひ質問をね、聞きたいと思いますので、どうぞどうぞ。Yes. Oh! What do you... Okay, this might be... I'm not too familiar with this. I'm not sure if you are. What do you guys think of math rock, Toad, Tricot, TTNG, that use weird time signatures and odd chord choices? Have you heard about this? I actually haven't heard about it, but I'd like to look it up. It sounds interesting.
I actually just found math rock recently, and it was totally by chance. Like I was trying to find some like some nice rock beat, like Japanese rock BGM.
Yeah.
And there was a playlist that was that was recommended, and it was like math rock. It was like some sort of like funny header. It was like math rock to listen to when you're walking or something like that. Just
right.
like super casual, but I listened to it and I really liked it. Like I was like, I would listen to this on my own time, and I kept going back to this playlist.
So is it
but I didn't know why it was called math rock. Like I didn't know what that was about. I just know I liked it. It did. I don't think it has any singing. Maybe it does.
Does it sound kind of like it's clashing but also sounds good kind of thing? I guess if it's sort of odd time signatures and odd chord progressions, like maybe it seems slightly off to the ear, but at the same time intriguing and probably exciting. Is that the kind of music it is?
Yeah, that was exactly it. And I think it's kind of like what happens when you hear a time signature in 7.
Right.
And you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? And you kind of get this like, it's not jarring, but it's just enough to be like, well, wait, that was different.
Yeah.
Now we feel this, and then all of a sudden it's different again.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It was, I really liked it. Like I said, I didn't know what really made it math rock. I wasn't sure why it was math. But I was really into it.
That's so
it was just that playlist that I listened to, so maybe there's more out there, but I jived with it. It was good.
Nice. And we've got some other questions, actually. Any other instruments that you want to learn? I'll open this up to you first, Harune. Any other instruments you'd like to learn, other than the piano?
Ooh. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to learn either the flute or the harp.
Oh my gosh, both of those would suit you so much. I actually have a friend who plays harp. It's really exciting. Like, I played it a little bit, but it's really cool.
Oh, it's so fun. And I guess piano is in some way like a big harp, but in a different way. But I got a chance to actually learn flute. I have a flute because I took flute in high school, and Papa Rune was very kind and he purchased me a flute.
Thanks, Papa Rune! Yes! His name is what?
Yes, his name is Terry.
Terry, that's a great name.
Thank you. It's so I get to
appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes, and then Sweerin does play harp. I do know that, and like sometimes you can like hear her in a channel and she'll like be practicing.
Oh, Sweerin
so that's very
sweet.
But
I didn't know that.
Yes, she's been taking harp lessons. So I do hope one day to learn the harp. I also would like to, if I could, learn the oh my gosh, is it the guzheng? I think.
What's that?
It's a Chinese instrument.
Oh.
That's sort of, it's like a table harp, and you have these like picks that you wear on your fingers, and you play them that way. I actually have an aunt who plays guzheng, and so I was like, if you could teach me, but she's all the way in Taiwan, and I was like, I can't go there right now.
I looked up Chinese table harp, and I think I've got a picture. That looks so cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's super pretty.
Wow.
It's super pretty.
That
Also the
looks so
erhu,
fun.
which I just absolutely love. If I could play the erhu, that would be sick. I would feel good about myself. But
oh my gosh, that looks so cool. Wow. That is so exciting. Oh my gosh.
yes.
Yeah,
What about
it's
you?
such
What
interesting
sort of
thing.
instruments would you love to learn?
Well, as I say, at the moment, I can only really play guitar. I mean, I can play enough piano to be able to make songs, but I mean, it's not really playing piano at that point. It's putting in the notes on a beat and then copy paste. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not actually playing piano. So I can, yeah, as I say, I can play enough. For me, I think going on from guitar, and also I really like enka, like traditional Japanese music. I'd love to be able to play shamisen. I really would love to play shamisen. I just think it would be so cool, and then I could do like enka live streams with a shamisen. I mean, wouldn't that just be fantastic?
Yes, that would be so cool. I love
Yeah.
traditional instruments.
Yeah.
I think it's just got such a feel that I would love to learn something totally traditional.
And just the way that sort of twang of the shamisen, I don't know, it's just got such a sort of, you know, everyone stops and listens to it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I would really love to try playing it while singing some enka. Yeah. So
If you do that, let me know.
Aw, thanks. Alright, so I've got some time for some more questions. Hello, Harune and Milky. Is there any songs from anime or video games that you would like to play? What about you? Is there anything recently from anime or video games you'd like to try and play?
That's a pretty decent question. I don't know if you're familiar with the anime Yuri on Ice. This one's it's an old one.
Can you feel
It's an ice skating anime.
Never enough.
But there's a piece that one of the main characters skates to.
Is it Everyone Loves JJ, whatever his name is?
No, oh my god, no. That one is so funny though. I
think
the
you
first time I
should
heard that song,
play-
I absolutely hated it.
I think you should play an emotional version of that on piano.
Oh my god. But actually it's a Yuri's piece. His skating piece, which is all piano.
Yes, no, that's
And I
really
actually-
beautiful, that piece. Yes, I know which piece you mean.
Yes,
actually.
yes. And I've been learning it on and off. I can play it through. I really, really like it. I like all of the groups of 16th notes that you have to sort of keep maintaining in the right hand, and then the left hand that has the more like percussive sort of rhythmic part. That I really, really like. So I would like to play it better, but I've technically already have learned it. So that's like a piece from anime. And then from a video game, Breath of the Wild has some really nice piano parts.
Yeah.
Like when Link is riding through, like riding on his horse for a long period of time, you get this very playful sort of piano music
I think I know which bit you mean. Yes,
it's very sporadic almost, but I really like it.
The music of Breath of the
I'd
Wild
like to
is
learn
good,
how to play
actually.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I was trying to think about this. All I can think is like the kind of silly answers. I think you know this already. I love Sonic. So basically, any Sonic music that I can learn to play on the guitar, I want to play it. I know the lyrics to all of the character theme songs, and it's like, I guess I quite like what's it? I don't know which one would sound good on guitar. I guess, 何がいいかな? I also really like Ace Attorney, the Ace Attorney game.
Ace Attorney,
yes! If I can learn to like play like Steel Samurai on guitar, I don't know if that's possible. Or like Steel Samurai on a shamisen, that'd be sick. Yes.
Oh my god.
I think that would be pretty amazing. From anime, let's have a think. Recent stuff. 何がいいかな? I feel like I'm not gonna know unless I look at my Spotify. you know when you get a question on the spot and you're like, yeah, what did I want to try and play?
Yeah, no, exactly. Where you're just like, I know I've thought about this before, but like on the spot, you're just like, no.
Well, yeah, what was it? My friend really likes this song. It's from a sort of older basketball anime. It's called Anata Dake Mitsumeteru. And I want to be able to play it for her. So I've been learning that on guitar and trying to progress with that. Slam dunk, that's it.
Slam dunk, I was gonna say, is it slam dunk?
Yeah. So I'm trying to learn that at the moment. Yes.
So cute.
Thank you everyone
You're
for
such
your
a good
questions.
friend.
Oh, no. This is the same friend who hates the song Unravel. Do you know Unravel?
Oh!
And
really?
so I call her up like, hey, oshiete.
Well, like, that guy's got some crazy range.
I know.
Sing it like
I know. How can you hate that song? It's so iconic. But anyway, she has something about it. Just every time she hears it, she like screams. So I phone her up. Anyway, so you could say I'm a good friend, or you could say I'm a terrible friend. Whatever do. So this is quite an interesting one that I did really want to know. So your favorite songs. Let's go with of all time, because current favorite songs I know like change a lot, but you must have some songs that like, I don't know, you always go back to, or you always feel like, yep, this song I will kind of love forever kind of thing. Do you have any songs like that?
Yes. I think I only have, well, I think for ones that I'll always love forever, I think there's too many, but there is one that I always go back to.
Yes.
No matter my mood, whether I'm happy and then I listen to it and I just feel like happy and mellow, or if I'm sad and I listen to it and I'm like sad and mellow, but I always feel content. And it's going back to Galileo Galilei again, but it's their song Arashi no Ato de.
Arashi no Ato de. I'll have to look that up.
Yes. It's so, I don't know. The first time I heard it, I thought it was the most perfect song. And I never looked up the lyrics. I have no idea what they're singing about. But there's something about it that I just thought was absolutely perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
So I'll always go back to it. So it wasn't until like this morning, because I realized that one of your questions was like favorite lyric.
Oh yes.
And I was like, oh my god. So like I like went back to like find Arashi no Ato de, and I was like, I don't know the lyrics to this. Like, do I like the lyrics as much as I like what I'm hearing? Right? And it turns out I do. So lucky me.
Oh, that's good. Well, at least you discovered the lyrics as well as a result of today's combo. Yeah. Nice.
What about yourself?
I have several favorites. I guess, like, it's difficult because my current favorite song changes so rapidly. Like, I'll have these kind of songs that I'll just listen to, like, on loop, and at this moment I'll have a favorite song, like an absolute favorite song, and then some of them will stick around, some of them I then won't listen to much again.
Yes.
I think it depends on, like, how I relate to that song, or why I listened to that song in the first place. It was really eye-opening. Do you use Spotify when you listen to stuff?
I do, yes.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's been a shift, but I used to just find it on YouTube. But I have Spotify Premium now, so
yeah. No, and they had the like Spotify 2020 thing, and it gave you like the top artists you've listened to and the top songs that you listened to this whole year, and it was so eye-opening. It was like, Yep, that song I listened to a lot this year. And you're like, yep, and you can kind of like relate to why you were listening to these songs at different times and stuff like that. So it's just quite interesting, I thought. But like all-time favorite songs. Actually, one of my all-time favorite songs is not actually that well known. It's a song called Pollen and Salt, and it's by a band that are not together anymore. They're quite a sort of older band. I mean, not that old, but it's a song called Pollen and Salt, and I just really, really like the lyrics a lot.
I like the title a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's meant to be Daffodils by the Sea, which is why it's Pollen and Salt. But it's really, really pretty song, and the lyrics are just so nice. And it's an interesting story about that band, because I've always really liked that band a lot. Daphne Loves Derby, and I found recently that a lot of songs I used to listen to on YouTube are like already gone, and this is a really interesting subject that I actually wanted to bring up as well. Like, a lot of the music, they're like, people listen to, if it's not super popular, it could just disappear one day. Like, that is not something I ever really thought about or considered, but it's a really scary thought. That it's like, oh, this song isn't there anymore. I can't listen to this song anymore. Like, where did this song go? And it's just like really, really weird thing to think about, actually.
It is spooky, and I'm like, I feel a little bit better about like modern songs that happens to, because it'll always be archived somewhere. You know, like we won't ever really lose it completely. But like, for example, like Bach, all of his preludes and fugues and things like that were left primarily untouched and almost forgotten until I think Mendelssohn played it. And Mendelssohn is a romantic composer, so that was like a long time later. One of Beethoven's sonatas was once again untouched and almost forgotten until Liszt played it. So, you know, it's a little bit like I can only imagine like how scary that must have been back then, especially for a composer where like their only job is to write these pieces, and that's sort of their legacy, and to think that that's going to be forgotten and unplayed, like it's kind of terrifying.
It's so strange to think about. I mean, I know it's similar with like, you know, how we save our photos these days, right? Like there's always that thing that, you know, floppy disks, obviously no one uses those anymore, but the way that data is stored will eventually also, you know, it's not like physical photos, is it? Like eventually the way that data will stored will be different to how it will be stored, you know, in the future. And eventually all of these photos and memories that we have now, if we don't actually sort of have them physically somewhere, have them somewhere where we know that we can always access them, we may not be able to access them later on. It's like an interesting thing with music too. I don't know. I always get thinking about these things late at night, and I'm like, that's an interesting thought.
No, that is an incredible thought. And like I think about it's actually kind of spooky because I'm talking about this because my grandmother actually passed. So my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago. But I actually just had a dream about her last night, like before this collab, and I was like, oh,
that's
hey, Grandma.
interesting.
It was interesting, but I think about now, you know, the fact that we're talking about photographs and sort of how that relates to music and its longevity in a way. She, you know, had these photo albums, or not even like large albums, but like just like pictures here and there that she had taken through the ages. And I think about like photos that she was a huge, like, I mean, obviously the photo when photos were a more common thing, it was Polaroid.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that you had to sort of shake to get the image out.
I actually have
so
one.
she had a lot of Polaroid photos of like my family when I was a small child. There were photos of her children, so my dad and his two brothers. And even more treasured were like photos of like her family members on their wedding day, or even like there were photos of like her when she was a child during the Great Depression. And I just think that like this picture is not stored anywhere else. This is the only photo of its kind.
Yeah,
like,
it's so weird.
How scary is it? Yeah, like how spooky is it that like if something were to happen to these photos, there's no evidence of their existence, like in an image. That freaks me out so much. And then I think about like today where, you know, we post photos on Facebook, like photos are like people don't like taking, like people will specifically say, oh, I don't like photos, don't take a photo of me. Whereas like before, like a photo op was sort of a big deal because that was your, in a very visual sense, that was proof of your existence.
And it wasn't really,
now
you know,
people are like, you know,
like
photos
selfie.
Are so here and there and
exactly.
so digital. Yeah.
It's,
that like,
you know, it was to mark key events rather than,
yes.
You know, well, I mean, it's not to say that like, you know, the current use of social media is necessarily bad or anything. It's just very different. Which is actually why I decided to get a Polaroid camera recently, so I could start photographing things that, like particular moments in life or things that are kind of special to me, and keep them in a photo album so that, you know, one day when I'm older I can look back at them. That's what I always wanted to be able to do. And in the same way, like, you know, because if I don't take them now, you know, when I'm like, I don't know, 80, and all of my photos were on Facebook and I don't have them anymore, I mean, what am I going to do, you know?
Exactly.
I just think it's really
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's very interesting, actually. Very interesting
No, that's a really great, like, connection.
Yeah.
It's a very good connection. Just the idea that, you know, like, music is, people say, like, music is timeless. And the genre is, yes. But like you said, like, there are some songs that, like, one day you just won't be able to listen to anymore. You're like, where'd it go? Why isn't it here?
And I guess, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of, I think, one of the motivations behind why some people write songs as well, right? So they always have something something left of them in the world that is completely them, and that they hope people will like continue to
very much
listen
their
to.
legacy.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting. Oh, it's just such an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
That was just super interesting. Yeah, so moving on, yeah, I know we were just talking about it a little bit, but your favorite lyric, I would actually be quite interested to hear that. If you have one.
That's probably the hardest question for me. Because for the longest time, lyrics didn't actually mean a whole lot to me because I'm a note learner. Right? Like, you know, music as an instrument, as a sound, not so much the words, right? So I didn't listen to a lot of songs with words outside of like Bruce Springsteen and the Beatles and things like that. I never really thought about the lyrics. It was always like, oh, this beat is catchy, these notes, this melody, I like it.
Yeah.
So having a favorite lyric was not actually a priority for me.
Yeah.
But there's actually a
also, it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be your all-time favorite lyric. It could just be your most recent favorite lyric. Because I think often I really don't know what my favorite lyric is. I just have lots of different ones. So just a example is fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's this like country folk singer that I believe, I don't know what her accent is. I think she might be Irish.
Irish. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so you know, my music interests are vastly varied. So there are some times where I like I have not. I really want to.
Sorry. Yeah, continue.
No, that's okay. It's what one of my dream places to go to is Wales. I really want to go to Wales. I feel like people are like, why Wales? What's in Wales? But like, that's exactly why I want to go. I want to know what's going on.
Now, but he was in Wales.
Wales. I really want to go to Wales. But yeah, so there's a lyric that she sang, or there's a song that she sang. Her name is Kate Rusby. I realized I never gave her name. But there's a song that she sang called called Underneath the Stars.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really, really sad song, but it's like sung. It's like her. It's very acoustic.
Right.
It's not like a rock song or anything like that. So it's very folky. And I think the first time I heard it, I maybe cried. But there's a part of her. There's a part of her song in the lyrics that says, "Underneath the stars, you met me. Underneath the stars, you left me. I wonder if the stars regret me." They come and go of their own free will, and it's like, that always stood out to me.
Oh, I
don't know. So that's my favorite lyric right now.
Yeah, that's super nice. Actually, I really like that. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, I'm gonna have to listen to it now. You know when you just hear a lyric and you know the song's gonna be good. That feels like one of those songs.
Oh, I do hope you'll give her a listen. She's so good. I love her voice. She's got a very unique timbre, and just her accent just works so well with the music she sings.
No, I'm always looking,
it's very folky.
I'm always looking for new, like, as I say, I really love storytellers, so it doesn't really matter to me like what the genre is, as long as the lyrics are beautiful and I can feel the story and feel the emotion. That's the main thing for me. So
yes.
She sounds like the kind of singer that I would enjoy, so I'll definitely look it up. I don't know. I guess recently, because it's coming up to Christmas and New Year, sorry to say Taylor Swift again. I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but
is it her last Christmas?
No, so I have a lot of like lyrics of hers that I really like, particularly in her newer albums. As I say, like, you should definitely listen to Folklore and Evermore. But she has a song called New Year's Day, and it's got a really nice lyric in the bridge that says, "Please don't ever become a stranger whose laugh I could recognize anywhere." And I don't know, I really like that line. I don't know, I just every time I hear it, I'm like, that's a really like poetic and beautiful lyric, I always think.
Yeah.
There's so many like one-liners like that she has in her songs. I'm like, this is so moving. I guess
you're like, oh, this hit's different.
Yeah, this is different, you know? And I just think that's, I think that there's the kind of lyrics that I really treasure, and the lyrics that I try and write in my songs too. Like lyrics that really hit you and move you, and you know.
Yes, and like when you write a good set of lyrics, you know it's going to be impactful. Whether it's the same way or not is another story, but just like that it has some sort of impact means that you've written a good lyric, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Super interesting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this has been a super interesting conversation. Should we open up to a few more questions from chat before, and then probably after that, probably finish it up. But yeah, I'd like to get some more questions from chat first. なんかまあもうすぐそろそろ終わるかなと思うんですけど、その前にね、なんか最後にちょっとチャットからいくつかの質問ぜひもらいたいと思いますので。Yeah.
I see someone put Shularune, my Irish song. I love Shularune. That's a great song.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm really excited to look up that singer actually.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes. Actually, can I, as questions are coming in, there's actually one song that one question that I'm curious to ask. My arm's freaking out. Yeah. So one of your questions was actually favorite song to sing/perform. This often differs from your favorite songs.
Oh, sorry. I would
love to know what that's different for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think for me, my favorite songs, as I say, are often sort of very nostalgic, very emotional lyrics. And however, I think, actually performing can be different. So I really like sort of, nice, warm, cozy guitar sessions and being able to... essentially what I do in these guitar sessions, apart from the meme songs I sing, is I actually sing songs that I listen to, right? So I play a lot of city pop, I play a lot of Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and all of the artists that I actually really like. But then, like, I feel like often at karaoke, I'll go for more songs that I like performing. Like, I really love doing stuff like ballads. Like, I really love sort of ballads, soulful stuff, like where you can use a lot of vocal techniques. I think for performing, that kind of thing is really fun. So, like, for instance, I really like doing Alicia Keys songs at karaoke.
Yeah, Mama Milky Queen's music.
I know, but like, because you can do all of the like big belting, and you can also use all the vibrato, and it's just so much fun to sing, right?
Yes.
Like, I think if I want to be emotional and nostalgic, I'll get out my guitar and I'll sing some city pop or sing some Taylor Swift or something. But if I want to just like have fun with my voice, then I'll do something like, a big ballad or a big sort of soulful song. So, and obviously, like, similarly, like, obviously, if it's for live in particular, you also got to think about what the audience will enjoy. And I think often, these sort of nice, cozy guitar streams are meant for a certain type of stream, like, a very relaxed kind of, close to the audience kind of stream. But if you're doing, like, a big live where everyone's sort of holding glow sticks and stuff, I mean... You're probably not gonna do that, You're gonna do some
you want something to go.
Yeah, you wanna make them, jump and do some stuff that will go well with dance moves and things. So I think it really depends on who the audience is and what the situation is for what is actually the most fun to perform. So that's quite an interesting question. What about you, actually?
So I like to sing alone a lot. Whereas oh my gosh, my arm's freaking out, relax. Whereas I like to listen to a lot of mellow songs and, my boomer tunes and things like that. But in terms of like what I like to sing, it's actually a lot of like stage music.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
A lot of like
musicals and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like when I'm driving, I'll sing like from Wicked.
Oh, like Defying Gravity and stuff?
Yes, Defying Gravity. I'll sing In a Crowd of Thousands from the Anastasia musical, but I'll also sing like Journey to the Past.
Oh,
so just like a lot of like Disney sort of show tunes.
Nice.
Which is very different from my general music taste in terms of listening.
I mean, I definitely agree with you there. Like, singing in the car in particular, it's got to be musicals. I do agree with you there.
Yes. Or like Frozen songs, which, arguably, whether you like them or not is one thing, but like they are fun for your vocal cords, right? Like,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. I was gonna open up some questions. Let's have a look.
Yes.
Let's have a look. わかんない。ちょっと待って。Like, half the questions are, Milky, have you sent a DM to Connor yet? Are you going on trash taste? I mean, Connor is great. Connor is really great. ぜひ、Connor、お願いしますね。
Who is Connor?
So, do you know Sea Dog VA?
No.
He's Welsh, which is why when you say you wanted to go to Wales, we were like, Connor! Yes, but he's a YouTuber, and he's very, very nice.
Is he really? You say that and then you laugh immediately.
恥ずかしい。まあね、まあ。でも、no, he's really funny, he's really funny. You should check out his videos. His recent video, he was pole dancing. In a Japanese pole dancing club.
Oh, exciting.
I'm trying to see, so people have been sending questions. Guys, can you send some other questions about music, please? お願いしますね。音楽関連の質問、お願いしますね。Please. Thank you.
I'll just load your ship.
Stop. We want some actual music questions, guys. As much as I do appreciate it. Yes. If anyone has any other... Are there some songs that you like the beat, but you hate the lyrics, or the other way around, so you're not sure how you feel about it? Oh my gosh, I definitely have ones like this. Do you?
Ooh, here, I'll let you start. So
I'm trying to think.
That's a really good question.
I'm trying to think.
There are some. So like, I really like One OK Rock as well.
Ah, yes.
But some of their lyrics don't always speak to me. Maybe because like for One Way Ticket, I really like. I like that song for its beat and its melody.
Yes.
But like the lyrics seem a bit cheesy to me. So I feel embarrassed singing it when
I kind of get what you mean. I think some of them I really don't feel like that way. Like Wherever You Are and stuff, I really think the lyrics are really nice. But I agree, some of them like they feel a little cheesy, and I think very occasionally, like definitely most of the songs I really like the lyrics for One OK Rock. But I do kind of get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one that stands out to me in terms of like a cheesy one, because I really like Wherever You Are. Stand Out Fit In was I think one of their newer songs.
Yeah.
That one's the one where like the lyrics aren't cheesy, but I don't know. It doesn't. Maybe I have to like sit down and actually read the lyrics. I
think that's the one song that didn't speak to me as much from One OK Rock recently. I do kind of get. I know what you mean. I think for me, what's it? I'm trying to think. I find the lyrics to "Gorgeous" by Taylor Swift kind of annoying. Like I like the beat, but I find the lyrics annoying. Like I know most of the songs I really like. There's just that one song where I just like, it's literally, "You're so gorgeous. I can't say anything to your face, just look at your face." I mean, what kind of lyrics is that?
Wait. Opinion on Shake It Off.
Huh? Shake It Off I like just because it's fun, right? But I think, if I have to think of like a song where I like the beat but I'm not so keen on the lyrics, it'll probably be that one. But yeah, most of our songs I really like the lyrics. It's just that one song that kind of gets on my nerves.
But it's a good thing that you're able to sort of have that like a singer or an artist that you respect and you really love, but you're still able to like be annoyed at some of the things that they.
Yeah, I often am like this. Like I'll be a fan of something, I won't like every single thing that they do usually. Like it's the same with my some of my favorite sort of city pop like DJs and stuff. Like sometimes they'll put out an album and I just won't be that into it, and then they'll put out something else and I'll be like, I'm so into this one again. Do you know what I mean? Like
So it's not even like favorite artist or favorite album. It's like literally favorite song from them.
I think it's that too, but I think in general, if I like most of their stuff, I'll say that they're my favorite something. Like I think just every artist has like a couple of songs or an album or so that I won't like, but I think that's just part and parcel. If you pretend that you like everything that an artist produces, you're probably lying.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. I think if you like enough of their stuff, then you're like, okay, I think I like them like as a band.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
just... Yes.
Yeah. If you perform at any location or venue in the world, where would you pick? That's an interesting one.
Oh, I'll let you do that one first.
I guess I'd really like to perform somewhere really atmospheric, like a sort of a forest, and then a sort of, you know, like a stool in the middle of a forest, and film a really cool video. Like, I think I'm less, it's less about sort of like, obviously, big stage would be great for me and my group and stuff, and I really like to, obviously, you know, aim high, Budokan or something. But in terms of just like general, you know, performing in general, I'd really like to, in a sort of overgrown forest. That just sounds really fun. I don't know, like me and my guitar singing in a sort of like magical place. I don't know. That just sounds really exciting to me. What about you?
Yes. No, that jibes with me very, very much. Are you familiar with the Piano Guys?
Probably not.
The Piano Guys?
The Piano Guys? I don't think so, but I'll write it down.
They are a really popular, like, team of, like, dads in the States. And they started off, I think they run a music store together, and then they started making YouTube videos where they took classical music and they sort of modernized it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really cool because, like, especially as they got more popular and they had like a Kickstarter that was, I think, wildly successful, and now they've got a lot of people who donate to them, they will go and film on location. So they'll like take a piano to a forest,
oh my god,
like by a waterfall,
so
and
cool.
they play these beautiful pieces. And so it's one guy on piano, one guy on cello, and oh my gosh, like when you said that, like that would be a dream for me too, like playing just beautiful atmospheric pieces, like where it's not about, you know, how well can you play the Appassionata, you know, or something like that, you know, like it's not about being like this hoity-toity sort of perfectionist performer.
No.
It's about, you know, setting the scene, having this lovely atmosphere, and just enjoying music as it should be.
Exactly. Enjoying sort of raw music and being connected with the world around you, I think would just be really nice. Right, let's have a music retreat to a forest somewhere.
Yes. So like a forest sounds amazing. I would totally agree. I would love to play piano in a forest. That would be so cool.
Awesome.
And actually, I've noticed a little bit of a tangent, but when I used to practice, like when I was living with Mama and Papa Harune, they were kind enough to purchase me a grand piano when I was in middle school, because I had been with piano long enough and I was playing more serious pieces, and I needed I needed an instrument that could handle it.
Yeah, right.
So I would practice with the doors and windows open in the summer, and I noticed that like the birds seem to react very differently to piano music than with like like with just like, you know, your day-to-day like you know, standard sounds, right? Of like nichijo sounds, but and I mean, of course, because it's music, it's tunes, and that's, you know, songbirds especially, they have, you know, they make melodies of their own. But I think about that, and I think of like if I were to play in a forest, like how like part of
how the animals would react to stuff.
Yes, like that would be part of the atmosphere too. Like the birds would probably sing along, and maybe animals would come by to like.
Why? My first thought was a badger's gonna shit on my piano. Why is that the first thing I thought?
All right, Mardab.
I don't know why that's the first thing that came in my head.
Oh my god. Oh,
sorry, please continue.
No, but that's basically it. I mean, if a badger poops on my piano, so be it.
Anyway. But yeah, that was actually super interesting. It's probably about time to wrap up, I would say. But have you got any... Sorry to end on such a funny note. But no, it's been a really, really interesting chat. I feel like we've got to have a lot of interesting conversations. This is the kind of reason I like doing collabs and doing streams and stuff is to have convos like this, you know? This kind of conversations. You're like, yeah, that was really interesting. And think about
Yes,
that and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like, it's good that we get to talk about specifically like music things, like past experience things, whereas like I feel like so many like collab interview-ish sort of things or collab chats always are like, what got you started into VTubing?
Yeah,
like what was what kind of VTubers inspired you? And I'm like, okay, those questions are cool at first, but like maybe the first 3 times.
Yeah.
And then after that it gets really exhausting. So
next time you should just record yourself, like have a pre-recorded message that you just sort of send to everyone.
Exactly. So I'm glad that we're able to actually sit and talk about music, like things that I have to think about and things like that. Yeah.
No, but it's been really, really nice. I've really enjoyed it. Oh, yes, I was going to say, have you got any sort of announcements that you want to make? Any sort of stream announcements or whatever that you'd like to get in before we finish?
Just because it's music related, Friday morning at 10 a.m. EST, I am doing a very super casual holiday music sort of piano I don't want to call it a performance, but just like a
what time's that? 10 a.m. EST. What time's that?
10 a.m. EST. So I think that might be 11 p.m. JST. I have to double check because we have
I think it's midnight actually. Midnight, I think.
Oh, really? Because I know we have what's the word? Daylight savings. So I'm not sure how things work now.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
But I'll be sure to check that out. Yes. What kind of stuff will you be playing?
Either whether it's energetic or like soft, like casual, but it's gonna be holiday music. So like so maybe some traditional Christmas carols like Silent Night.
That sounds so nice.
You know, things like that. But also like more modern. So like I'll Be Home for Christmas. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. So just like nice like holiday tunes. And I won't be playing like the entire time. That's exhausting to play straight, but like I'm hoping to just have some like nice casual holiday chats, like very much like a cozy fireside evening of just casual piano spelunking. So
that sounds like the best. I really, really want to be able to make it. That sounds really good.
Thank you.
I hope you guys
if it's too late for you, no problem.
Too. Yeah. So if you guys, you can check out. I've got Harune's Twitter above her head. Let's put it even bigger. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Perfect.
Yes. So, if you like, please check out Harune on Twitter for her latest streams and stuff. From me, my next stream, well, it's all going to be a bit difficult for the next few weeks with the holidays coming up, but we might. Okay, I'm still trying to convince her. There might be a special Christmas karaoke with Miru Mama. But I'm trying to convince her.
Yes!
I'm trying to convince her, so I'm not sure yet. なんか私のなんですけども、まだね、なんかやるかどうかまだわかんないんですけど、なんかミルママとね、クリスマスカラオケやるかもしれません。欲しいかもしれません。それ欲しい。Yeah, but なんかクリスマスがね来るので、なんか少しね配信のスケジュールが少しイレギュラーにはなるんですけど、まあ頑張ってできる時は配信します。So yeah, as I was saying, because it's coming up to Christmas and stuff, streams might be a little irregular, but I hope you guys will bear with me and I'll try and stream when possible. Yes. Yes. Great.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming today, Harune. Really appreciate it. It was so much fun. Are you okay
I loved it.
Yay. Are you okay with saying miru bye-bye to everyone in the chat?
Of course.
Oh, Beer and Snack Bill, Afro Boomy, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay, pati.
Alright, so we're gonna say miru bye-bye on the count of 3. Alrighty. 1, 2,